mean, we're both competitors, and there's no ill will. And once we both get punched in the face, like, we're gonna be locked in.
Hank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I have an abundance of and of which you have none of.
Jake Paul is nervous after hearing that Floyd Mayweather has joined Gervonta Davis's training camp. He keeps saying he's calm and focused on staying healthy, but his body language says otherwise. The idea of Mayweather helping Tank improve his timing and power adds serious danger to the fight. Fans believe Jake now realizes he's up against a real fighter guided by a boxing genius, and the pressure is starting to show.
Cardio, the conditioning, it's a sprint and a marathon at the same time. But I feel great. So I don't know, after 5 years of doing it, I'm healthier than ever, mentally doing amazing. So I'm just always thinking of the positive. And even in sparring, I've never been knocked down or knocked out or anything. So I've just yet to experience any.
Have you ever been knocked out?
No, never. I was meditating once. That's how my nose is crooked. People think my nose is crooked from boxing, but I was meditating once. It's the only time I've ever passed out and I got knocked out. But I like was sitting on this higher chair thing, meditating, breathing in, and I think I had like low blood sugar or something, or it was early in the morning, earlier than I normally woke up, and I just fell forward straight into the concrete, and it broke my nose, and I was like knocked out.
Floyd Mayweather has reportedly joined Gervonta Davis's camp, offering advice and strategy as the fight gets closer. His presence adds world-class experience and confidence to Tank's preparation. With Mayweather guiding him, Davis is focused on perfecting his technique, staying disciplined, and sharpening his mindset for the biggest fight of his career. Many boxing experts immediately noticed the huge difference in natural size and reach between the two. Gervonta Davis made his name dominating smaller divisions, where his power was deadly against fighters his own weight. Jake Paul, however, fights as a cruiserweight, much heavier with longer reach and height. Critics call this the biggest concern. They say the size gap is so big that no official boxing group would allow it as a fair or safe matchup.
My question is, what's the rules? And like, are they going to actually try and knock each other out? Because it's going to be a glorified sparring match. I'm not watching, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Jake's going to have a hard time hitting him.
Yeah.
You know?
Big time. Gervonta's so fast and skilled.
Gervonta's going to eat his
I thought
guts.
Jake was going to fight Anthony Joshua. That seemed
No, that was actually getting.
That is
sounded
the
more
craziest
interesting.
idea I've ever heard. Jake Paul trying to fight Anthony Joshua is, crazy.
Not a sanctioned professional bout. This means the fight will not count towards either fighter's professional records.
So it's still being finalized.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
What is so behind the scenes? You think there are things like, hey, we don't punch each other in the jaw.
Yep. Or don't go. We can punch in the face, but don't go for broke. Like, don't knock me out.
Really?
Yeah. It's an exhibition.
That's
so
not
they
very
can get away
interesting
with
to
it.
me.
No. Until I find the rule sets, but when I hear exhibition, I'm like, okay.
Jake is bodied up, man.
He's big.
Yeah.
Probably has 100 pounds on Gervonta.
Maybe. I'd say Gervonta probably walks at 150.
Oh, he's so small.
He's so small. I mean, he's really small. Bring up Gervonta Davis next to Floyd Mayweather, because I've seen Floyd in person, and he's tiny. You've seen Floyd in person.
I've worked with Gervonta and Floyd.
Tiny.
Well,
Oh,
Floyd
dude.
likely has shoes on there.
Oh, dude, he's so small.
He's tiny, guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's so small.
Jal Sonnen has become one of the strongest supporters of Gervonta Davis in this fight. He sees Davis as not just a champion, but as a symbol of real boxing. Sonnen says Jake Paul brought new fans into the sport, but also created doubts about skill and legitimacy. Now fans expect Davis to restore boxing's image. He believes Tank can prove what true professionals can do against someone still learning. To Sonnen, this fight is about defending boxing's pride. While he admits Jake helped grow the sport's audience, Sonnen insists Tank must deliver a strong message that real skill beats hype.
Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things. Now, I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched them weigh in. I want to say it was like 8.
Weight classes exist for a reason. They keep fights safe and fair. Davis usually faces fighters with similar size and quickness. Against Jake Paul, he'd be facing someone much larger with more muscle and power. The difference in their natural weights raises questions about fairness. Tank's power would still matter, but hitting a bigger opponent who can take harder punches changes everything. Many believe that even with his great skill, Davis would need more than talent to overcome the size gap. Jake benefits simply by being bigger, even if his technique is below Tank's. That's why people question how competitive this fight can really be.
Hell this fight was ever going to happen. And the fact that y'all believed it, I don't know, you're stupid. So Rick Thompson, chairman of the Georgia Athletic Commission, told USA Today Sports that Paul's promotion company withdrew its request for permits and a rule waiver, citing the 65-pound weight difference between the fighters. The Rick Thompson guy straight up said they've been promoting something they should not have been. Come on, guys, like, use your brains. Y'all boxing fans, you understand this. This fight was never going to happen. This is the article from USA Today. It says the status of the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis under scrutiny because of the weight discrepancy between the two fighters. Rick Thompson is coming out and saying this stuff because he said he believes it's in the public's best interest to know that they've been promoting something they should not have been. Communications director for the Office of the Secretary of State told USA Today Sports the event will not be happening. But funny enough, tickets are still available. You could still purchase them online, and the fight is still listed.
All through his career, Gervonta Davis has shown his dedication to real boxing and its legacy. That's why some fans feel confused about him fighting a social media star still learning the sport. They think Davis should focus on top contenders, not celebrity fights. These fans also worry that Tank's involvement makes influencer boxing look more legitimate. They feel it sends the message that fame matters as much as skill and ranking, even though the fight would bring big money and attention. Some hope Davis would stay focused on true championship goals instead of spectacle.
Not the problem with boxing, Tank Davis is. Jake Paul's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's a Disney Channel kid, YouTube star turned boxer. Of course, he's gonna make these stupid spectacle matchups. He doesn't care about his career, his legacy, or the sport. Meanwhile, we have Tank Davis, the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather and Adrian Broner, who has real talent. And if he was actually consistent in the ring and was willing to get in with some of the best fighters in the world, he could be top 3 pound for pound best fighters in the sport. But instead, Tank just wants to hold up his division for 5 years and make a mockery of the sport, especially with this fight. I know Tank Davis multiple times has said he only cares about the money and just wants to make $100 million and go retire off an island somewhere, but that's bad for the sport, especially coming from one of our sport's biggest superstars. Look at guys like Naoya Inoue, Alexander Usyk, Terrence Crawford. Those guys are real fighters, okay? They challenge themselves against the best fighters in the world. And money comes their way too from it. Don't get it twisted. What's crazy is Tank would make just as much money if he fought Shakur, Devin Haney, even Teofimo Lopez. The biggest tragedy of all is the fact that Lamont Roach isn't getting his rematch. He got robbed in that fight with a knockdown. He definitely would have won the split decision, and he would have got his Buster Douglas moment, but he didn't, and now he can't even get a rematch because Tank is going to do this, and now Lamont Roach has to fight Pitbull Cruz instead. I used to be such a big Tank Davis fan, but over the last year and a half that I've had this channel, the amount of BS that I've had to report on Tank Davis just like this completely turned me off as a fan of Tank Davis. Jake Paul can do his thing with the influencers, with the MMA fighters, but with boxers...
Boxing has changed a lot in recent years. Top fighters struggle to gain attention unless the fight has drama or a special storyline. Experts say the shift is caused by how audiences act today. They scroll fast, chase viral moments, and want entertainment over skill. Because of that, promoters focus on what sells instead of what improves boxing. Influencer fights thrive because they bring quick excitement and flashy stories. It's becoming harder for real athletes to shine when the spotlight goes to viral events. Many worry that boxing's true values, skill, heart, and respect are being replaced by pure show business.
To where it's at, I'll expand on that. For one, you have good fights where I'm not talking about these type of fights, crossover type of fight, former Disney guy, influencer stuff, not. And Jake Paul has really promoted himself and acquitted himself to the point where he's kind of a boxer. Now, he hasn't fought the top names, I get it, blah, blah, blah. But he's doing his thing. He's training like a boxer. He's not like taking it lightly, like streaming and then working on his YouTube more than he's working on his boxing. It is what it is, right? But beyond that, let's keep it going. I told you I'm about to really get unpacked. Subscribe to the channel. The reality is, the reason why I'm saying I blame you, the fans, is because we've had some very good fights, like David Benavidez, Caleb Plant, whatever. I'm talking in the last 5-10 years, right? Very good fights, all boxing. So not talking influencer or any type of crossover fight, right? Good fights. And then you got boxing fans in a niche sport who didn't further the exposure by advertising or buying the fight, mostly buying the fight with piracy and whatnot. So now we're at a point in this society where these companies, they're like, all right, they see the piracy is a problem. Now they're looking for a sure shot, must win type of scenarios. That's why we're getting these fights that some people, purists and diehards, are calling wonky fights. You know what I mean? It is your fault, because when there was real boxing on.
As excitement around the fight grew, organizers faced an unexpected problem. The first arena chosen to host it backed out, not wanting to be linked with something seen more as entertainment than sport. Officials said it didn't meet standards for major boxing events. Promoters had to act fast, contacting other venues until one accepted to host the spectacle. The sudden change caused stress, but showed the promoters' determination to make the fight happen. It also proved how flexible boxing's business side can be when big money and attention are at stake.
Jake Paul is over 50 pounds heavier than Gervonta Tank Davis, and he's nearly a foot taller than Gervonta Tank Davis. So no sanction body wants to, and no commission wants to, should I say, I keep saying sanction body, no commission wants to sanction it. They don't want to be a part of it, as I told you guys. So they announced that the fight was going to take place November 14th in Atlanta at the State Farm Arena where the Atlanta Hawks play. And the Georgia Athletic Commission, he came out and he made a serious statement. And he let the world know that
modern boxers like Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul understand entertainment better than most. Their success comes from keeping people talking. They know attention brings money and opportunity. By picking opponents who create buzz, they stay relevant and land big pay-per-view deals. Critics question their choices, but their business results are undeniable. As long as people talk about them, they stay in the spotlight. They don't chase belts, they chase headlines. Experts also say Davis deserves more credit. Fighting him gives opponents huge exposure that can change their careers. His influence builds stars beyond himself. Analysts argue fans should respect the impact he already has instead of judging him harshly. For this matchup, his record proves real talent, real fights, and real success, even if critics ignore that when comparing him with Jake Paul.
Discussion in the boxing world about Gervonta Davis and Gervonta Davis, his resume, who he's going to fight, the competitors that he's going to fight. And every once in a while, something happens that proves that Gervonta Davis is the face of that. If he's not the face of boxing because people just don't want him to be that, man, he is real close to it, because other than Canelo Alvarez, and even consider Canelo Alvarez included, nobody in boxing has divisions circulating around him like Gervonta Davis does. And that was proved during this Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz announcement for their pay-per-view. Just think about this. Gervonta Davis, they always say that Gervonta Davis has a poor resume, but yet Gervonta Davis, guys that fight Gervonta Davis, lose to Gervonta Davis, or get a draw to Gervonta Davis, can fight one another and make an anticipated pay-per-view between the two of them. Because that fight with Pitbull Cruz is a very, very popular fighter with Mexican fight fans. Lamont Roach got a lot of name exposure with black fight fans and Mexican fight fans and white fight fans, all with his draw that he got against Gervonta Davis. Now they believe that this is going to be able to be a profitable endeavor for a pay-per-view. Now, let me also tell you that Rolly Romero, who was somebody else that Gervonta Davis fought in the past, will be on a pay-per-view that's going to be successful, most likely, when he defends his WBC 140-pound championship.
Danny Garcia understands that entertainment is a big part of boxing now. He knows fans love unusual fights because they create excitement, even though this one doesn't affect rankings. He admits people are curious to see it. Fans love watching two very different fighters clash. The more unique the matchup, the bigger the crowd. Garcia says that's what makes this fight appealing. Still, many purists worry the sport is losing its identity. They want technical battles and real rivalries, not celebrity matchups. They fear boxing is turning into a business of marketing, not mastery. When top fighters like Gervonta Davis take fights outside their weight class, it makes traditional fans uneasy. They want champions, not influencers. They want skill, not just spectacle. Even though this fight will draw global attention, many believe boxing must be careful not to lose its soul to entertainment.
Jake Paul will be taking on Tank Davis in an exhibition on November 15th in Atlanta, Georgia, live on Netflix. And this is crazy for multiple reasons. One, they have a huge size difference. Tank Davis, he's a lightweight, normally fights at 135 pounds. And Jake Paul, he's a cruiserweight, usually fights at 200 pounds. So there's a good 60 to 65 pound difference here. It could also mean that Tank Davis is no longer interested in competing for titles anymore and is cashing out of boxing. You know, there's been a lot of talks that Tank is nearing retirement this year, and he was supposed to rematch Lamont Roach after their first fight went to a draw. But instead of chasing the Roach rematch, instead he takes the Jake Paul fight for money. So maybe this is Tank's last, or one of his last fights. And same for Jake Paul. He just got ranked number 14 at cruiserweight after beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. So he's supposed to be fighting other ranked contenders or top guys at cruiserweight. But instead, he's taking a money fight. But I do expect these two to go after each other. Even though it is an exhibition, I don't think it'll just be some boring sparring match. I do think they'll try a decent amount. But Tank, obviously, is a lot more skilled. Jake, he has a lot more size.